Series with the Colorado Rockies. Rockies, winners of just one of their last 10 games, have been eliminated from playoff consideration. We're so glad you've joined us. I'm Rick Horton alongside Al Roboski. And Al, this is going to be a great series. We're going to see some good pitchers in this series. Let's start out with the Cardinals starter today, Chris Carpenter. Chris Carpenter, with a win here tonight, may overtake John Lester, depending upon what he does, as the winningest pitcher since 2004. Tremendous record. Carpenter, though, has not been very good of late, Al.
Well, he's lost 4 straight games, and he needs to turn that around to pick up his 16th win. We all know he's capable of it. He's got that great curveball. He actually says he feels better at this point in the season than he has in many a year. He just needs to get back in the win column.
We'll see Jimenez in this series. 4 of the top 5 hitters in the National League are also on hand here tonight. Al Roboski will talk it over with one of those guys, former Rocky, current Cardinal, Matt Holliday, when we come back.
Season, many people may be surprised that you lead the National League in 2-out RBIs.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of those stats that you don't really know until somebody tells you. You're just trying to hit the ball hard at the middle, and I've had a lot of opportunities with 2 outs, and I've been able to come through a few times.
I know everyone's a little disappointed. We all thought this team had the makings to go a little deeper. And not singling out, but I know it'd be nice to get a few more runners on ahead of Albert and yourself.
Well, I think we just came up a little bit short. I think coming out of spring training, we had high hopes, but we didn't turn out to be the same team all year. We lost Freeze. We had Penny out and Loesch, and then ended up having to trade for a starting pitcher and give up Ludwig. So, our team had quite a bit of turnover and inconsistency up and down the lineup. And so, would it be nice to have the same 2 guys in front of Albert and I every day? Yeah, but at the same time, it's our job to drive in whoever's out there, and so going into next year, hopefully we'll have health on our side and a little bit more consistent lineup and be able to advance further.
Well, that's the one thing that General Manager John Mozeliak speaks of is with the great nucleus that you have here, you just have to tinker with it a little bit. And then I think when a year like this, when you're disappointed, makes you a little hungrier for next year.
No doubt. I mean, I'm excited already. I mean, it's one of those things. It's nice to have some time off, but probably about a month from now, I'll be itching to get back and get back to spring training and see what the front office does about tweaking the roster a little bit. And I think that come spring, I think we'll be feeling pretty good about ourselves going into 2011 with the core we have and hopefully, with the added pieces, it should be exciting.
And it's only human nature when you sign that big contract, you try and do too much. I think next year you'll be a little more at ease and just go out there and let your great talent take over.
Yeah, I think you try to make it right in the first month. You get a nice contract and you try to go out and prove that you're worth it in the first month and just settle down and go out and play my game and hit the ball hard up the middle and take my chances. And I've been able to have a better second half and hopefully the next 6 years are more like the last 4 months or whatever.
And probably a little disappointed that the Rockies have been knocked out also.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends over there and really close friends, and I know they, like us, had high expectations, and they had a great season. But like us, they're headed home on Sunday, so I'm sure they'll have a competitive team again next year.
All right, Matt, thank you very much, and we'll be back with Cardinal baseball right after this.
Rockies are in town. Game 1 of a weekend series. Cardinal rookies have had an impact here in September. We'll highlight a couple of them, beginning with Alan Craig. Craig had a 4-hit game in Chicago and 4 for 11 in this homestand, including a big fly. Alan Craig has made an impact, but so has Matt Pagnozzi. He's getting a lion's share of the work behind the plate with Yadier Molina out, and Pagnozzi contributed his first major league home run off the facing of Big Mac land here this week. Colorado Rockies have some hitters in their lineup. Troy Tulowitzki's the best. We'll look at him when we come back. Ball. He's here at Busch tonight. How about this September to remember? 27 games, 15 home runs, 40 RBIs. One of the best months a hitter has had in recent memory. Troy Tulowitzki red hot. And he has been a big plus in that Rockies lineup, along with Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez not in the lineup. Tulowitzki is. Carpenter will go for the Redbirds. We'll be back with more from St. Louis after this. By Budweiser. With full flavor and a crisp, clean finish, it's what we do. By Dodge Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. By Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. And by Chevy's Expert Auto Service. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at stlchevy.com. Beautiful night here at Busch Stadium. Perfect temperature for baseball, right around 70 degrees. Crowd still filing in. First game of the last series of 2010. And here's a look at the Colorado Rockies lineup. Carlos Gonzalez, top hitter in the National League, is not in the lineup tonight, but Troy Tulowitzki is. He is just 4 RBIs shy of Babe Ruth for the most RBIs in a month in the history of the game. Todd Helton, also very good lineup. In the middle of that lineup for the Rockies, and Chris Carpenter, our Marshall Wireless starting pitcher, has not won in his last 4 outings, still looking for that 16th victory.
Yeah, he lost the last 4 games. His last victory was here at home against Cincinnati. And it's uncharacteristic to see this guy with a great winning percentage lose 4 in a row, and he'd like to turn that around in his last start of the year.
Here's a look at the defense behind Chris Carpenter here tonight. Holiday, Rasmussen, Craig in the outfield. The Lees, Ryan Schumacher, and Pujols on the infield from left to right. And Chris Carpenter and Matt Pagnazzi behind the plate. He's getting a lot of work. And he is making the most of his opportunity behind the plate.
Definitely is. And we all knew he could catch at this level, but starting to show some signs of life with his offense.
And a good start for Chris Carpenter. Fastball right down central to Dexter Fowler, the center fielder. And he swings and lines this one to right field, right at Alan Craig. 2 pitches, 1 out.
A guy like Fowler, you want to have him hit the ball in the air. Tremendous speed, and just make sure it stays in the ballpark.
Rockies have been very tough on the Cardinals. They've won 11 of the last 12 outings against the Cardinals. Chris Nelson, second baseman, 316. Not a lot of experience.
he's getting some experience against Carpenter tonight. And we look back at this series, Al, in early July.
I knew what series to take off, didn't I?
You were not there, were you?
No, I wasn't.
We needed you, Al.
I couldn't have helped out. But there were some tough losses in that series. The bullpen got beat up. And last year, Jim Tracy took over the ball club when they were here in St. Louis and started that run of winning 11 out of 12.
3-1 to Nelson. Jim Tracy's done a great job with this Rockies club. This is a team that's a little disappointed now. We mentioned they've only won 1 of their last 10 games. But they really put on a show here about a month ago, winning a bunch of games as Nelson walks and the ball gets away from Pagnazzi.
Well, at times when you get so far behind and then you make a great push, and that's what the Rockies did, but then all of a sudden the tank was empty.
Run out of gas.
They were really just riding on the heels of Gonzalez and Tulowitzki, and not that they've necessarily slowed down. Gonzalez got a little wrist injury, but once they couldn't carry the team as well as they were, they kind of fell out of the race.
Rockies are second in the National League in batting at .265. The Cardinals are third, but most of the Rockies have been off the last 4 or 5 games. Taylor made double play, 6-4-3, and Chris Carpenter is through 1 inning. Top of the order for the Cardinals: Schumacher, Craig, and Pujols. No score, bottom of the first inning. Rockies and the Cardinals, game 1. 4-game series, final series of 2010. And here's the way the Cardinals lineup looks tonight. Skip Schumacher will lead off at second. Alan Craig in right. Pujols at first. Holiday in left. Rasmussen center. Feliz, Pagnazzi, Ryan, and Carpenter round out the lineup for Tony La Russa. And they will face Jason Hamill, 10-8 with a 4.6. But he has been dealing with a tired shoulder of late, and he has not been very effective.
No, he has not. And they say he has tremendous stuff, really good stuff, where you would put him maybe at 2 or 3 in the rotation. But he's pitching as a 4 or 5. As when he needs to make a real good pitch, he's been unable to come up with it.
Schumacher bounces this one, and it's fair. Knocked down by Helton. He's not going to be able to get Schumacher. An infield hit for Skip. Good way to start for the Cardinals. And a look at the Rockies defense, just a hair better than the Cardinals statistically. Fowler, the young center fielder, can go get it. Tulowitzki and Nelson up the middle. Todd Helton's been a very good fielding first baseman over the years. And Chris Iannetta and Jason Hamill are the batter. Helton is a very good fielder, Al.
Really is. Knocked it down, kind of hit it in the heel of his glove. ejected, and then Skip hustling down there decided not to make a wasted throw.
What a great hitter he has been over the years as well, Todd Helton. Sweet swing.
Just a franchise leader in just about all their offensive categories.
And strike one to Alan Craig. He is having a very good homestand. The average up to 243. Slow start for him. At the beginning of the season, he was on the Cardinals bench and just really never got on track.
Well, he's never had experience not being an everyday player. And it was apparent that he was going to struggle in that area.
Line drive to right. Back goes Smith to the track and makes the play. Well hit ball by Alan Craig, trying to move the runner from first to second.
Time Alan Craig would go down, he'd hit like gangbusters. And now getting extended playing time all games this week and a little bit over the weekend. You're seeing him start to have a consistent approach at the plate.
And that brings in Albert Pujols. Another monster year for him. The average below his career average, right around 330, but still very effective season for Pujols. 42 homers, 117 RBIs, and up among the league leaders in just about everything. Two very good first basemen in this game. The highest career average in September, which also includes some days in October among active players. Albert Pujols is first, Todd Helton is second, and look who's fourth. Matt Holliday, the Cardinal left fielder. Schumacher not going. And we talk about the Cardinals' need for a little more speed, Al, but they're often hesitant to run in this situation because you don't want to take the bat out of Albert's hands.
Well, once again, it's just all the more important to have that protection behind Albert. You have that now in Holliday, but another big bat behind him would really stop a lot of that also. So, a good leadoff hitter. Another, at least one real power producer, run producer in the middle of the order. Tighten up the defense.
Two and one to Albert. Hit on the ground, fair inside the bag at third. This will be extra bases for Pujols. Schumacher rounds third, and Oquendo sending him home as the left fielder Spilborghs loses it. And the Cardinals take an early lead, 1-0. RBI number 118 for Albert.
Takes over the lead over Gonzalez in the RBI department for Albert. So home runs and RBIs to the Triple Crown. He won't get the batting average, and probably no way Gonzalez can lose that. Sweet swing of Albert Pujols, pulls it down in the left field corner. She mentioned Spilborghs had trouble here, but Oquendo had already made the decision he was going to send Schumacher and get Albert that 118th RBI.
Cardinals with an opportunity for more. Holliday has 103 RBIs of his own. First base is open. How careful will they be to Matt Holliday? Strike on the outside corner at 94. You mentioned the stuff that Hamill has, and by stuff you mean more than just velocity.
Right, physical abilities, 94, 96 miles an hour consistently with the fastball. Very good slow breaking ball, tighter slider, and a changeup. He's got all the ingredients.
Albert's going to steal third. Close play at the bag. He's saved. Stolen base number 14 for Albert. How about that jump?
How about Albert's will to win and obsession with scoring? He's over 100 runs scored, and he wants to continue to win that race also. It also helps to have a big body of Matt Holliday standing on the right-hand side of the batter's box. Catcher's got to throw around or over a big body.
I still think that says something. Your first point, Albert playing like it's April, not September. Watch out. That looks like that hit him on the elbow.
And Holiday had crushed his former teams this year, Colorado and Oakland. That one he's paying the price for.
Looked like a fastball intended to be up and in, and it just got away from Hamill.
And nothing, malicious or intentional about it, but it doesn't make it not hurt anymore as you get right on the point of the elbow, and there is no padding there.
Absolutely.
He's got a lot of muscle and a lot of padding, but
not there.
Right there, just maybe you can see already welting up, and the ethyl chloride to stop the swelling.
If you look closely, you might be able to see Bud Selig's signature. Bud Selig.
Look at that, right on the point of the elbow is swollen, and then you see another muscle. Forearms are pretty much like Popeye, but he's got a new muscle right back there.
Get a little knot there. Yeah. And that may bother him the rest of the game. We'll see if Tony stays in this game or not.
Tony La Russa said that he was going to play Albert and Matt Holliday 3 of the last 4 games. You can understand why he played less, but those 2 guys, it's great when your superstars want to play every day.
And the fans want to see him in this last series. The Cardinals have won 2 series in a row. Maybe too little too late for them. Series against the Cubs and then the Pirates, now trying to make it 3 in a row to finish out the season against the Rockies.
It's too late.
Well,
too little too late.
That's right.
But, they're on the schedule. You might as well play them to win.
Got to play them. Ball in the dirt, and Albert threatens to score. And if anybody could have scored, it'd be Albert.
He's had great jump, secondary jump, and he's not going to listen to what Oquendo says.
You mean Jose's suggestion?
Right. And you see Albert just went up 1 over Gonzalez, who is not in the lineup tonight for Colorado. And by the way, he is the young man that Colorado acquired in the Holiday trade to Oakland.
Rasmus 1-1, another ball in the dirt, and Hamill is all over the place right now. Deep for Rasmus, especially in right field. Colby does have 23 home runs. Decent power numbers for him. And a line drive caught by Helton. That'll double off Holiday. That will end the inning for the Cardinals, but an RBI from Albert. It's 1-0 Cardinals through 1. In our Toyota keys to the game in the last 4 outings for Carpenter. And his problem has been 1 inning where he gives up a lot of runs. 3 times it was 4 runs. Once it was 6. And his key tonight will be to avoid that big inning against the Rockies, and they're certainly capable. Tulowitzki, line drive to right. Craig makes the play over his shoulder. Out number one here in the second inning. That ball hit very hard on the line the other way.
Tulowitzki, I mean, just thankfully keeps it in the ballpark and in the glove. But Carpenter, going back to our keys of the game, is just whatever reason, Carpenter-like, he has not been able to shut down those big innings. And that's something he normally always does. In some of those games, you know, whatever happens in that one inning, that's the only time the opposition gets a chance to score against him. But it's been too late as he's lost 4 straight.
And you just don't think about 4 straight losses at Chris Carpenter in the same sentence.
No.
He is such a winner. We talked about that career winning percentage. Really, over the last 6 years, only John Lester with a higher winning percentage than Chris Carpenter in all of Major League Baseball.
And he's just, you know, in my mind, he's lost a little bit of his aggressiveness and a little bit of that tenacity that people look in for afar and they think, well, this guy's a psycho out there in the mountain. Well, that's just him in his will to win. And his teammates know it. Sometimes he takes things out on them, but it's nothing personal.
You kind of like that psycho approach, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, you can always dial things down. You can't dial things up. So, and you think about it, Zambrano, he's not out of control like Zambrano was early, but
Albert vacates first base, so Carpenter has to cover. Communication, very important. Let's listen for the voice of Albert. I don't know if that's Albert, perhaps Matt Pagnazzi. It's really his job as a catcher.
The catcher or someone from the dugout, but Albert ranges so far to his right, and he has tremendous range, and you know, it makes mistakes being aggressive where it's on the base paths or times taking a ball away from a second baseman waiting for it. But you as a pitcher, you know, the ball hit to the right side, you better get over to first base.
Ian Stewart has hit the Cardinals well. 2-0 on the Rocky third baseman. And back to Albert's penchant for straying off the bag. One of the new sabermetric statistics that everybody talks about is zone rating. You get the balls outside the normal zone, and he, of course, is very good at that. Actually, a lot of Cardinals. Brendan Ryan has great range. Not enough range there for Skip Schumacher. That ball hit very hard by Ian Stewart, first hit for the Rockies.
And because of that, I think that's why you've got to consider him for another Gold Glove. But talking about Albert, a lot of times Skip will be a little bit more up the middle. This time the left-handed batter kind of playing him, pitching him away, but he pulls the ball and right beyond the range of Schumacher.
Decent location.
Nope. Yeah. You know, you keep the ball down there. You hope for a ground ball. X amount are going to go through.
Chris Iannetta is the catcher for the Rockies, and he's a name that we would like to not talk too much about because he was unbelievable in that first series in Colorado. He had a home run in Game 1 and in Game 2 of that series, including the game winner in Game 2. But he bounces out to Schumacher to end the second. All good news so far for the Cardinal fans. 1-0 through 1.5. Will it be San Diego or San Francisco? Text NL West, A or B, to 432-432. San Diego or San Francisco?
My
San
choice.
Francisco has the lead right now.
They're up 2.5 currently. So at the end of Padres game at home today, and it's 0-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning with Ludwig up and a runner at third, 2 outs.
Are you there, Al? How do you know all that?
Oh, I know it all. It's either going to be 2
what I thought.
or 3-run lead for the Giants, with them opening a series in San Francisco against each other. So I say the Giants.
And a base hit the other way. Another leadoff hit for the Cardinals. This time it's Pedro Feliz.
Pedro has really good numbers off of Hamill, who had pitched in the big leagues, in the American League with Tampa Bay. A lot of that was in relief, and so that's why Pedro found himself in the lineup.
Matt Pagnozzi is finding himself in the Cardinal lineup quite often, and he is responding. Batting average at .333. First career home run was a big one.
Big fly.
Still haven't heard if he got that baseball or not. I assume he did.
You did hear the fan was, shouldn't say overestimating the value. We don't know if he's going to go on and hit 900 home runs. Doubtful, but he wanted season tickets.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
He offered probably the normal, autographed baseball with bat, but he wanted season tickets. So at the last accounting, we heard it was no. And it wasn't even a ball he caught, because he
was thrown back.
Bounced back into the field, and the left fielder, not knowing it was the first major league home run, threw it into the stands, and so a guy just.
And Tabata just thought he was doing a nice gesture. He didn't know it was a first hit. Hey, run base hit for Pagnozzi, perfectly executed, and that'll send Feliz to third.
But isn't it nice to see the hit and run?
Oh, my.
I mean, just little things that, it takes combination. You have to have a pitcher throw strikes. You have to have somebody that'll make contact and not swing and miss a lot. But just starting the runner just kind of makes things look good.
And you'd have to say the young second baseman Nelson probably broke too quickly.
He was playing up the middle to begin with, so there was a hole in the right side, which I'm sure Tony took advantage of. Then you got a big, tall pitcher who's slow to the plate, so you should get a real good jump. It's not their number one catcher, who is an excellent thrower, just right behind Molina. A lot of things going, and then a perfect placement of the ball to the right side.
That brings in Brendan Ryan at 221, looking for his 35th RBI of the season. Cardinals with runners at the corner and a 1-run lead, batting here in the second. That looked like a pretty good pitch to hit right there. Fastball right down central, 0-2. You think that'd be the pitch he's looking to drive here.
Ricky, our thinking caps work a lot different than a lot of these current hitters.
Certainly than this guy's. He's got his own brand of thinking cap.
Well, we don't have the benefit of knowing that, the statistics analysis that on 0-2 pitch or an 0 pitch that he's going to throw such and such pitch on this count. We just kind of look for a fastball when you're behind the count. Adjust to a breaking ball, but if you get a fastball that's in the strike zone, we're pulling the trigger.
0-2 to Ryan. And there's a line drive foul. It reminds me of the story that folks have told about Yogi Berra trying to teach hitting. He got into this convoluted conversation trying to explain your hands here and your hands here. He got so tired of doing that, he just grabbed the bat, got in the batter's box and said, "Throw me a pitch." He hit a line drive, and he said, "Just see it and hit it."
That's about it.
See it and hit it.
One of our fan favorites, Willie McGee. Now, how would you tell Willie McGee how to hit?
I'm sure Mark McGwire would say to Willie, and they were teammates, of course, see it and hit it.
React to what you see. But don't try and figure out your hands here, there, lower half going this way or that way. And that's a little bit what Mark's told me with Brendan Ryan. He just trying to say we just let him try and feel comfortable.
It could be a base hit. It is past the shortstop Tulowitzki. And Brendan Ryan comes through with the second Cardinal RBI of the night. Cardinals lead 2-0. As the regular season comes to a close, the Cardinals would like to say a huge thank you to fans across Cardinals Nation for all the support in 2010. Over 3.3 million showed up to support and cheer on the Redbirds at Busch Stadium, and millions more joined via radio and TV broadcast. Cardinals ownership, management, and players would like to give a tip of the cap to baseball's best fans. It's you, and you truly make St. Louis baseball heaven. Chris Carpenter bunting situation. Cardinals trying to add on. Fastball high. And that's what Hamill's trying to do. Throw that elevated fastball to try to get Carpenter to pop it up. And his job is to get the ball on the ground, preferably to the third baseman.
One of the simplest instructions that we were given as a pitcher trying to neutralize a bunting situation. And yet you rarely see pitchers do it today. I mean, they just kind of groove the ball and let them get the bunt down.
There's that fastball up, and the danger of doing that is you might go 2-0.
Well, and the reason you're trying to do it is you're trying to get, it's very difficult to get that bunt down. You have a tendency to pop it up. And there's a thing you're trying. But as you said, now that it's 2-0, you just have to go back and make sure you don't walk him. So lower it down and still throw your good stuff, though. A bad bunting form, as never really had the bat comfortable. More importantly, it wasn't out in fair territory, out in front.
Tony La Russa has bristled of late, talking and responding to people saying that the Cardinals never really worked on fundamentals. And
they
worked on said they worked on it, but he said he does agree that the Cardinals were bad at it all year long. The fundamentals, bunting, running the bases properly, some defensive lapses, and he said it's not for lack of work, it's just for lack of execution.
Exactly.
Another foul ball off the bat of Carpenter.
And we will attest that every single day that Cardinal coaches have guys out there doing all kinds of different fundamentals. See, when he brings the bat back, and then he never got the bat far enough out in fair territory. So when he brought the bat back, it started fair, but then it rolled foul. You got to get the bat out there in front. And you can't stab at it. You got to have the knees flexed. You got to feel, comfortable and let the ball come to the bat. Like that, it was perfect.
Perfect bunt, and decided he could not let that ball roll foul. The catcher, Chris Iannetta, had to pick it up and throw out Chris Carpenter. Perfect sacrifice for the Cardinal pitcher.
But this time, he really let the ball come to the bat and had the bat in fair territory. It was close, but as you said, it was a perfect, successful sack.
And that gives Skip Schumacher a chance to pick up a couple of RBIs. Pagnazzi, the runner, at third. Brendan Ryan at second. His RBI single, giving the Cardinals a 2-0 lead. Infield halfway in for Schumacher. And a line drive to center field, and this should be deep enough to score Pagnazzi. The throw comes into third, and no problem Brendan Ryan going there. And the Cardinals lead 3-0. Sacrifice flying an RBI for Skip Schumacher.
Textbook. Remember, he had a hit and run in there, and you had 3 base hits, including the RBI by Brendan Ryan, and then you come in, you sacrifice, and then you pick up the next one on a sac fly. Manufacturing runs.
What do they say? Get them on, get them over, get them in. Alan Craig lined out to right his first trip. He has a great swing the other way. Somewhat of an unorthodox style at the plate. Good slider from Hamill on the outside corner. Points that bat head towards the pitcher, which is not what you would teach a young hitter to do.
You always talk about a quick, short, compact stroke. When we talk about a long swing, it looks like this. See how it kind of cocked towards the pitcher? So you've got to come all the way around in a big circle. And that's why you end up having a lot of balls hit to right field. You really got to start that swing early to get it to pull the ball.
Julio Franco hit like that.
Sure.
In an extreme way.
And he was
Gary
a great
Sheffield.
hitter. But Sheffield had a quick bat for, it may have started that way, but it didn't stay that way.
And that's the key for Craig, too. No matter where your hands start, it's when the pitcher starts to deliver it home or you're able to get it into the right position. He keeps his hands fairly low.
And the thing is he's hit at every level except for the major leagues. You know, he's having a real good run right now, but he's still only batting .240.
Swings through a fastball. That'll end the inning. Chris Carpenter helps his own cause. This is how you bunt, folks. Cardinals lead 3-0. Three to nothing Cardinals. Chris Carpenter ready for Seth Smith. And that's taken low for a ball. We're joined by our great friend, Jim Hayes, for the third, as always. And Jim always has valuable info for us. This one bounced to Albert Pujols, and he takes care of Seth Smith. So let's just see how valuable that info is. Jim, we were just talking about Alan Craig and his unorthodox swing, and you had a chance to visit with him today and talk about it.
And he's making his fifth straight start tonight. Last night was his fourth. He had a couple of hits, including a home run. And I said, does that make it easier? You hate to use the word easier because you're getting regular at-bats. And he said, yeah. And I asked him about his swing. I said, have you heard that the swing is a little long or looks to be a little long? And he said that's something he's worked on, but he believes situationally he has the ability to shorten it up.
And he'll certainly have to do it at this level. Hamill, the pitcher, bounces it to Schumacher to his right. Good defense here in the third inning. Pujols, the perfect flip to Carpenter, and this is what Jeff Suppan couldn't catch yesterday.
I think even Jim Hayes could catch that.
I believe Jim Hayes could have caught that. In fact, not only could Jim Hayes have caught that, but Jim Hayes can also hit. I understand you have a little bit of a little thing going on. Tell us about that little thing.
I don't know if it's going to happen.
Okay.
We've been talking with Aaron Miles, who, along with being a great utility guy for the Cardinals,
closer yesterday,
pretty good pitcher, but he's yet to post a major league strikeout. So we were discussing that, and he said, why don't you get up at bat, and I'll at least be able to post a strikeout on a major league mound. And I said, I don't think that's going to happen, fella. Of course, I'm talking there because I haven't swung a bat in 20 years, but I figured it was never going to happen.
But it might.
Apparently, he says it's cleared. I checked with my insurance agent and my team of doctors and my psychotherapist, and all of them say go for it.
Which one of your psychotherapists?
Well, I have a team of those two.
Me.
Dexter Fowler hits it a long way, but it's nothing but an out. 3 up, 3 down for Carpenter. Albert, when we come back. Jason Hamill is set for the middle of the Cardinals order. And we always celebrate the first inning by having Jim Hayes visit us. Always
correlation? I don't know.
I don't know if there is one. Just saying. Strike one to Albert. Slider from Hamill. His control has been off and on here today, and he has to be careful with Pujols, who doubled, stole the base in the Cardinals' first inning. And a line drive base hit to left field. Another leadoff hit for the Cardinals. That's 3 straight innings where the leadoff hitter has reached base. And Jim, you also had a chance to visit with Blake Hawksworth. Check out the replay first, Al.
Supposed to be away, a little bit more in the inner part of the plate, and another hard hit base hit.
Albert's something else, but Blake Hawksworth. And you visited some in the pregame. Tell us more about where he is in his rehab, recovery, whatever word you want to use for a guy that really took a nasty blow off the bat of Sam Fuld.
That was on Saturday in Chicago. 30 stitches, a little dental work, and a lot of relieved folks. His family on the team, here in the booth. Of course, Cardinal fans, that it wasn't worse because very scary. But he says he's going to be off the medication soon. Hopefully he'll get back to doing normal activities. Right now he's on a liquid diet. He says he misses eating those protein bars that they have around the clubhouse. He's a health nut. Can't work out, so that's making him a little bit crazy. But he talked about the moment you see the ball coming at you and you just can't react in time. And he said once it hit him, the pain wasn't so great, but he felt the blood in his mouth and he knew something wasn't right, but he credited the training staff for taking immediate action.
1-1 to Holiday, and there's a line drive base hit to right field. Albert rounds second, and the ball gets away from Seth Smith, and Holiday goes to second, and he's safe there. Good base running by the Cardinals again. And they are pressuring the Colorado Rockies outfielders, and the Redbirds are swinging the bat very well.
You know, right here, even at the major league level, if you put pressure on people, they will make mistakes. So the National League leader in doubles does not get a double here. It's a base hit and error. Albert goes to third. Goes to third, and the Cardinals have something going again.
Albert seems to me that he's running and feeling a little bit better of late, say the last 3 or 4 games, running a little sprier?
I think he knows he's got 4 games to go, and then he can rest for a while. But, you know, he finds a way to keep that body prepared to play. And Tony says he'll play smart at times and not run hard when it's, you know, not necessary. But if he can take an extra base, he will.
And there's a base hit to left for Rasmus. Late jump for Holiday, and to make sure that ball got down. And RBI number 66 for Colby Rasmus. And we'll take a look at this location.
Yeah, I keep on saying it. Colby realizes there's a lot of hits out away from him. He will get that many more home runs because right now everyone's pitching off speed or hard stuff away. Very few pitches inside. When you start successfully taking that ball the other way, then they'll start coming back in on you, and that's the ball he can pull out of the ballpark.
One thing I wanted to say about Hawksworth, you know, he's a Canadian-born gentleman, right? So he's got some family in Canada that were watching this, and he said one of his cousins called his family, his parents, after they saw that and said, will he be going back in the game? It's that hockey mentality.
Oh, my. Well, hockey is right around the corner.
You know, Ricky, I don't know how you always dealt with it, but, you know, as pitchers, we've always had to envision what would happen. You know, if you took one like that. And, of course, in his situation, a little different. But, you know, I always said in my mind, if once I came through, you know, being knocked out, I was going to get on the mound and throw one pitch. You know, you let me throw one pitch, Skipper, and then if you want to take me out, fine. But psychologically, I want to throw one pitch.
And psychologically, the problem is the next time you get back on the mound, and unfortunate for the Cardinals and Blake Hawksworth that it's the end of the season, you can't get out there and get that feeling. And part of what it is after you throw the pitch, not kind of just reacting, flinching. And that's what happens. The guy will flinch and get in the habit of flinching, which means you're not finishing your pitch.
Trevor Miller told me when it happened to him in his first year of pro ball, he had the coaching staff just hit balls at him so he could get that feeling and get past it.
Jerry Royce used to do that in spring training. You have coach stand about 10 feet away and hit bungos. There goes the runner, and Rasmus is safe. Stolen base number 12 for Colby. Cardinals really pushing the envelope here on the base pass.
Wow.
Why not?
You know how we used to play Pepper in the old days, and the Cardinals hit and run, now straight steal, taking advantage.
Well, Jerry probably learned that as a Cardinal.
He did. He did, because our Kenny Boyer's first year of retirement used to be a badge of courage where he would stand at home plate at old Al Lang Stadium, and he literally took batting practice as we were up against the screen, and you know, it was like a sign of manhood. Could you stay in there?
So I did this with Jerry Royce as a White Sox after he had been trained with you,
right,
on how to get this badge of courage thing.
But I mean, it was
I only did
Kenny
it once.
Boyer swinging the bat rather than Jerry Royce.
I did it once, took one off my ankle, and said, "Forget it."
That's plenty.
Yep.
But you learn how to field, taking a few off your ankle and your shins, and
well, it's only 60 feet 6 inches from the rubber to home plate. By the time you release the ball, you're actually closer. Ground ball to third, and Holiday is caught. He's going to get in a rundown, going to try to give the runners a chance to advance, and they will.
But he started coming home, and then he stopped. Probably had a chance to be successful if he just would have put his head down and continued to run. But as it turned out, he allowed both runners. Watch him break home, comes home, and then he pulls up.
I'm not even sure Stewart saw him at first.
No, he didn't. So he would have been safe more than likely, because it would have been an off-balance throw. But once he did stop, he did stay in it long enough to get both runners to advance in scoring position, just like it would have been a little 5-3.
Swing and a miss by Matt Pagnazzi. He singled and scored in the second. Cardinals have brought the bats today.
You guys were talking about Matt's home run ball.
Right.
I did a little checking today. As far as the Cardinals know, that fan still has the home run ball, didn't return it. And someone told me they negotiated with this guy in the stands, and he came back, and apparently his counteroffer was season tickets.
Or his counteroffer.
Ground ball to third. Pagnazzi is thrown out, but it'll be an RBI ground out for Pagnazzi. And another Cardinal run. Traveling this season, take the Cardinals with you. Pair MLB.com's At Bat 2010 with your MLB.TV subscription and watch games live and on demand from your iPhone, iPod Touch, and iPad throughout the regular season. Details, you can visit Cardinals.com.
So you're saying the fan was obviously not a Cardinal fan and somewhat not proper etiquette.
Yeah, I'd say so, especially a rookie. Rookie hit the ball. It's okay to get some in return, but...
And Pagnazzi's not exactly 18 years old. He's 27, 28. It may be, I'm not going to say, but it could be the only home run he hits in his career.
We hope not.
Hope not. But it's possible. Let's put it that way. He's been a journeyman catcher.
Ricky, you brought up a good point before the game, talking about ages.
Pitch inside to Ryan. Not a lot of these Cardinal players that we keep calling youngsters are very young.
A lot of them are late 20s. You know, young in major league experience.
Young to me.
Stabenow is 28. Tyler Green's 27. And we keep calling them kids, but really what they are is they're inexperienced guys who've been in the minor leagues a long time. And they're getting a chance here, but they're not really kids. The youngest Cardinals are Colby Rasmus and Descalzo and Brian Anderson, who are all 23. Ground ball to Tulowitzki. And that takes care of Brendan Ryan. And oh, has it been wonderful to have Jim Hayes around. Also good to have a 5-0 lead through 3. %. Five to nothing Cardinals. Chris Carpenter ready for his 4th inning of work. Nelson, Spilborghs, and Tulowitzki for the Rockies. And I'm joined here in the booth by Darren Pang, the analyst for the Blues hockey. And it's great to have you with you. And
good to be here.
And great to have Al sitting out for a half inning.
Because he's got more hair than I do?
Yeah, I want to see how you can analyze the baseball a little bit. Out number 1, lined out to center field. And I'm understanding for the very first time, and I love Al, and I love the Hungo. I did not know there was a Panger Award. Are these two guys in competition or what?
No, not at all. The guy with the least amount of hair loses. But and I wish I was that tall.
Your head looks a lot bigger than Al's there. I'm not sure if that's really life size. I don't Not talking about brains or anything here, but I would say your guy looks a little tougher than Al's.
Well, as a goalie.
Yeah,
I mean, you
exactly
got the pads on, you got the pucks coming at you a little bit. I never stopped any pucks, but I saw them coming at me.
You got to see them. You felt them.
Yes,
well,
exactly.
we were just talking about pitchers. Blake Hawksworth earlier this week got hit by a line drive. Certainly you know what it's like to be hit by something going hard and fast.
Saw it, no reaction. Can you imagine if it was an aluminum bat?
Oh, boy.
I mean, we're talking about that in hockey with the composite sticks. The evolution of the game and how quickly a puck can come off a stick like that and how you can't react. Sometimes you just can't react. And these are world-class athletes, and you have no ability to react and get away from it.
And 2 quick outs for Carpenter. Blues season right around the corner. Tell us about what's coming up.
Just walked over from the preseason game with the Hawks in town, and I think they're chomping at the bit just to get going. I mean, they've been working hard. The training camp's been a real good training camp. It's been really intense, real tough, but Davis Payne, the new head coach, is kind of in charge, right out of the gate. And
his first full season as a Blues head coach. 75 games in HD on Fox Sports Midwest. So we look forward to that.
With John Kelly's hair and Bernie Federico's hair and my lack of, that'll cover it. I'm looking forward to the broadcast. I'm looking forward to the season.
That guy's looking forward to it. There's no doubt about it. Can you stay another half inning with us?
Oh, absolutely. No question about it.
I'm glad to hear that. We'll try to calm that guy down. He's excited. The Cardinals are leading 5-0, and the Blues season is right around the corner. In 2005, remember this? Albert with his 200th career home run. It happened to be the 40th home run of the season for him, and it was also a grand slam. No wonder we remember it. Albert Pujols, spectacular career for the Cardinals. And we have a Chevy's call to the bullpen. Edgmer Escalona.
Glad that name's not in the NHL.
Close as I could come. I was exactly. You and I are thinking alike, man. Panger,
in the
NHL,
those guys don't touch the puck very often during the course of the game. I tell John Kelly, he can't touch the puck very often because that name is too difficult to say.
I got some lessons earlier today on how to say Yaroslav Halak.
Very good.
How'd I do?
Excellent.
If I have to say it again and without my note in front of me, I can't do it.
No, Yaroslav Halak, and he is our
new goalie
from Slovakia. Was brilliant in the Olympics, was great for the Montreal Canadiens, third-year NHL guy, but he's paid his dues, only 25 years of age. Real good. He's playing tonight against Chicago and had a brilliant first period, made some great saves.
Carpenter leading off against Escalona here.
See, Carpenter's a nice name.
Yeah, you could say, but you have to say it fast in hockey. Well, I'm not doing the play-by-play. Obviously, Mr. Kelly has to handle that. But it is, a lot of people do say, how do you know all those names? I guess part of it's your homework.
Well, Russians, Slovaks, Czech Republic. I think we've got wide assortment of Eastern Europeans that are difficult. You just have to say them over and over and over again, and if you can't get that, then you call Mike Emmerich, who's the leader of ours, a veteran broadcaster of the NHL, and he's always got it the right way.
You get the phonetics straight and all that.
Or we just ask the player in the locker room.
How about some of the other Blues players that you're excited about?
Well, Alex Steen had such a great year last year. This year he's going to wear the A. I think he's going to get a little different role. Really excited about he and David Backes, David Perron. TJ Oshie, to me, is a breakout player of the year, and I just think that 18 goals that he got last year, I think we're looking at a bigger number than that, and I think the younger players are just much more mature now. And Eric Johnson now, after ACL surgery, now a full year, and now in his third year. I'm excited about watching these young players.
So some young players.
And they're not young anymore.
Yeah, they're not young, but they're being given an opportunity to step up a bit.
Yep.
And what is stepping up? What does that mean in hockey? I mean, you talk about the leadership part, and is that really just what happens in the clubhouse? And
you see a lot in baseball.
Chemistry-wise?
Rick, you see it a lot. You see it a lot in baseball. You see it where you kind of transition and you kind of anoint players, and then you go, ooh, maybe we shouldn't have done that.
Right.
And then now you got to regroup a little bit, and you bring in some veterans to help them along. And I think this team's just ready to explode. And it's just not me talking about that because, we're doing 75 games on HD on Fox Sports Midwest. It's because people around the NHL talk about the St. Louis Blues and how well they've drafted and where these players are at in their careers.
And it's right around the corner. The Cardinals obviously not getting a chance to play in October, and of course the Rams are doing very well, and at least they did last Sunday. Got their first win. Excited for them. But Blues hockey season as Schumacher hits one that eludes Todd Helton, the first baseman for the Rockies. Another hard hit ball by Schumacher. We'll see whether that's a hit or an error, and they do give him a base hit.
That's why you got to go hard to the bases, huh?
You never know. Even Todd Helton, who catches most baseballs like a good hockey goalie like Darren Pang, doesn't come up with that one. But as we look towards October 9th, that is big day for Blues hockey.
Big day. And 7 o'clock start at Scott Trade Center on Fox Sports Midwest in HD, and it's the Philadelphia Flyers that had a great year last year. And, the Flyers and the Blues, they have history. That's one thing I learned here is they had some playoff battles early on. They had some scraps. Red Berenson scored those 6 goals in Philadelphia way back when. And, but Philly's a good team, and it'll be I think that's a great team to open up with. Like an exciting team, a hard team to play against with some veterans that went to the finals last year, including Chris Pronger. So I'm looking forward to Game 1.
The Blues fans, a lot like Cardinal fans, they know their history. They know their team, but they also know the history of their team, and they love what the Blues have meant, not just in terms of maybe their family going to games together and talking about players, but really been a part of the community. A lot of Blues players still live in St. Louis, as do Cardinal players.
The alumni of the St. Louis Blues is so impressive, and they back each other up. And I've met a number of former Cardinals players as well, going to Albert Pujols' tournament and just seeing them around, whether it's on the golf course or whatever. And it speaks volumes about the city and the way people treat each other. And I know my wife Lynn and I, we just couldn't wait to get back to the Midwest as well, just because of that. Our kids grew up in Chicago. They love the Midwest. It gives me a little Canadian in us. I think that's there's a certain way that you deal with things, and I really enjoy it here.
Popped over the shortstop, Alan Craig, and Tulowitzki makes a nice play, going back over his left shoulder.
That's got to be difficult, huh?
Very difficult play. I mean, the athleticism that certainly middle infielders have is really impressive. But for a guy that can't even stand up on skates, I'm impressed with what hockey players do.
Well, yeah, but here, like a goalie gets to get in his crouch and see a puck come at him, and you don't have to torque your body and go in different ways like that and look up in the lights and try to track down a ball. To me, that really is impressive when I see catches where it's not a normal catch. Maybe not that one right there. Maybe that was
But much more comfortable in my book with a glove in my hand than skates on my feet, I can tell you that. Albert Pujols, such a great athlete. He could probably play for the Blues, too, and the Rams, and pretty much do whatever he wants. Just a great athlete. You think about the great athlete. Who's the best athlete, would you say, on the Blues?
Whoa, I think TJ Oshie is. He was an all-state basketball player. He was actually a basketball player before a hockey player. Could play football. Obviously, he's a great hockey player. So, yeah, I would say TJ Oshie, and I'm sure there's some hidden guys in there, but he would be the first guy that comes to mind. His hero growing up was Michael Jordan. He used to watch VHS tapes and VHS. You like the way
I
VHS tapes.
My dad told me about those.
Maybe they're beta tapes. I'm not sure, but he often talks about that, and his game of hockey often resembles a guard in basketball, the way he shifts right to left instead of north-south. He's a deker.
A great athlete for sure. Albert Pujols 0-2. We appreciate the visit, Darren. We appreciate you being up here and look forward to the season.
I really
can't wait to hear all about the Blues and look forward to October 9th, the Blues on Fox Sports Midwest. The 0-2 to Albert is taken high away. And Schumacher is the runner at first. Cardinals leading 5-0, batting here in the bottom of the fourth. And as Darren Pang leaves, we are told that the Blues just tied the Blackhawks 1-1 just as he was getting up. Ball hit deep to center, but Fowler has an eye on it, and now a glove on it. Pujols is retired. Cardinals were scoreless for the first time tonight, 5-0 lead. Live coverage of the unveiling and dedication of Brett Hull's statue before the Blues home opener on that October 9th game. Historic moment for Brett Hull. You'll see it and hear it all. Blues hockey returns October 9th on Fox Sports Midwest. That was our associate producer.
That is a member of our crew who our reports that there are people with white straitjackets waiting for him outside.
Line drive to left field right at Matt Holliday. And we're talking about Keith O'Brien. And he's also in this shot, too. Where is he? Where's that guy?
Right here.
Where is
right
he? There he is.
See him back
Same
there?
guy.
Same guy. Not quite having the same celebration, but I think he might have learned a step or two during the Cardinals celebration last year in Colorado. Keith might have learned something. He's also our esteemed collector of foam fingers.
I do know that he collects those. He's a little bit like Forrest Gump. He just keeps showing up in these important shots.
I think he's hoping for Jason Mott to invite him to play video games, when Mott can't sleep.
Is that what he does?
Oh, he has trouble sleeping. Just want him to call him up. And
yeah, nothing like a little electronic stimulation to help you fall asleep, I always say.
Okay, Ricky.
Ian Stewart has the lone Rockies hit against Chris Carpenter, who's throwing quite a fine ball game here tonight. Cardinals trying to win game one of this 4-game series. And he beats this one into the ground. Carpenter's able to make the play and tag the runner Stewart. 2 outs here in the 5th inning. You can bring the family down this Sunday, 2 hours prior to the Cardinals game, and enjoy complimentary frozen treats and win fun prizes in the Ford Plaza, courtesy of North Star. For tickets, call 314-345-9000 or visit Cardinals.com. Chris Carpenter has pitched very well against Colorado. These numbers since 2004, no pitcher has been better.
3-1 record. Trying to make it 4 and stop a 4-game losing streak. Bob Apodaca, the Rockies pitching coach, said, "What in the world's wrong with Carpenter?" I said, "Nothing, just hadn't won."
Base hit for Iannetta. Carpenter does not have a strikeout here tonight. That's a little unusual. Look at the Cardinal fans. This season, easier than ever to find seats to Cardinal games or to sell tickets to games you can't make on StubHub. It is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the St. Louis Cardinals. You'll find great seats, great service on StubHub all season long. Go to StubHub.com to choose your seats today.
Carpenter is 10 strikeouts away from 1,500 in his career. But it's hard to strike out people when they won't wait longer than a pitch or two to start swinging. This type of year, that's not uncommon.
They go up swinging, don't they?
Oh, they go up swinging. You know, it's
March and September.
When you're out of the race, it's kind of that pace gets accelerated a little bit. Matter of fact, on some clubs, especially on the last day of the season or a getaway day like yesterday, you get fined if you take a pitch or two.
Some talk in spring training of guys getting fined for getting hits to make games extra inning games.
That's right.
Now that's spring training. Maybe we shouldn't say that, though, Al. Never during the season, of course.
Ricky, you'll remember the guy that Ralph Citarella.
I do remember Ralph Citarella.
Well, Whitey, he was always Whitey's last cut in spring training. And Whitey was telling me one time, he was talking about my MVP of the spring, Citarella. I'm trying to think, MVP.
And why is it?
He knew he was going to get cut. He said, well, I always had him out there, take him on every road trip in case the game starts going to extra innings. I'd bring him in so it'd be over in 9.
Have more of RBIs as a player or pennants as a manager? Does he know we're doing this question? I would guess he doesn't. And the answer? More RBIs than pennants. Not by much. I'm going to tell him that Al picked that question.
Doesn't matter. He'll believe it was me anyway.
He actually is pretty self-effacing when it comes to his baseball career. He does not really say he was a very good player, but he was a big leaguer at the age of 19, so he was not without his own ability.
Number 1 draft pick back then, and then he very quickly hurt his shoulder. So, to some degree, that had to deter his career, but You can't fake it when somebody can look it up in the book.
Right. You still are what your numbers say they are.
That's right.
Holiday flies out to center field. He's now 1 for 2, and he stayed in the game after getting hit on the elbow by a pitch from the Rocky starter Jason Hamill. Colby Rasmus singled in a run, then stole a base in the third. He later scored. Cardinals showing a little offense here and doing something out that really they haven't done all year long. That's put things together. When you get something going, you finish it.
And what you're talking about is how many times will they score in 1 inning and then they rest on that lead and lose it. But scored in the first 3 innings.
Line drive foul.
It's usually a pretty good equation to winning. If you can score like in 4 innings, 4 of your innings, you got a pretty good chance to win. Cardinals, when scoring in 3 or fewer innings, are 54 and 69. But scoring in 4 innings or more, 28 and 7.
And one of the many things that has led to a disappointing season for the Cardinals. They were in first place when playing the Chicago Cubs here at home after that sweep of the Reds, and really since then it's been downhill for them. And I think perhaps their light bench has been exposed and their lack of depth, and that's something that John Mozeliak has said he's going to try to address for the 2011 season.
Well, it all started to come unravel when you lose your 4 and 5 starters. Loesch and Penny, and the farm system was never able to replenish that. And then ultimately you lost one of your most productive hitters trying to get another pitcher in Ludwig, and then Freese goes down in injury, and things just all snowball.
Escalona in relief of Jason Hamill, who was not sharp here tonight. Chris Carpenter has been sharp. Pedro Feliz singled and scored in the second. He's 1 for 2.
Big Cardinal fan, Helen Smith in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. She sure likes what she's seen tonight.
It's one of the things that you really get in touch with, Al, when you get to the caravan season, which begins right around the Martin Luther King holiday, late January, when we start to go out and see the Cardinal fans really all over the Midwest and beyond, and we take players out and go to cities. We realize and remember how many Cardinal fans are all over the Midwest, not just in St. Louis and the surrounding area.
No, the Cardinals get more than 40%. As Rasmus was running and Felice fouled it off, they get more than 40% of their attendance from 50 miles, a minimum of 50 miles away. Significantly from 8 states. We call it Cardinal Nation.
And that is unusual. You go to other ballparks and it really doesn't have that kind of reach throughout the multi-state area the way the Cardinals do. And it's one of the great benefits of the new Cardinal turf and what Bill Finley does, where people coming from out of town can pretty much guess that a game's going to happen, even if the weather may not be perfect.
And what we're talking about is the drainage system that you have on these fields now, that just like the days of the turf, where once it stopped raining, you could play.
In the dirt gets away. Rasmus heads to second base.
And there were, for many years, the Cardinals, once the football Cardinals stopped playing here, that they wanted to go back to grass, but they had to wait for the technology to develop, where they had these drainage systems, because they were always, thinking of those fans that drive hours upon hours to come to a Cardinal game, and wanted to assure that they would see a game if they made that commitment.
2-2 pitch is popped up on the right side. This should be handled by Nelson. 2 outs in the Cardinal fifth.
And of course, the Cardinals have always had very strong minor league franchises. I played in Little Rock and also Tulsa, AA and AAA teams. Now you have Memphis and Springfield. Peoria and Springfield have been minor league clubs in Illinois. So, you get to all those youngsters growing up thinking about Cardinal baseball, go and watch minor league baseball, and, getting hooked on this great sport.
And it is indeed a great sport. 5-0 Cardinals, bottom of the 5th inning. Matt Pagnazzi, there's a gift strike. Probably not a strike.
And Ricky, I think the one thing, everyone can understand baseball on some level. Everyone's played it. Not everyone's played football, or you don't have the physical attributes to play football or basketball, but everyone can play baseball.
So you have a simple level of understanding the game, but there are great nuances in it, Al, that
Sure.
The more you know and the more you're exposed to it, you can be challenged to maybe think about things at a deeper level.
Yes, and that's why the beauty of the game is it really does allow you to have the ability to second guess.
Oh, and we're good at that. Baseball fans, whoa. That one not even close. Escalona holds on to this pitch just a bit too long.
Just a blind stab by Iannetta. And Bob Apodaca, the pitching coach, out to talk to him.
Bob Apodaca is the first Major League Baseball player to sign an autograph for me when I was a kid. He was down the right field line at Shea Stadium, and he was the only player there.
As a
Of course,
reliever.
I was looking for Willie Mays, but I ended up with Bob Apodaca. But I was thrilled to have Bob Apodaca. He was so nice to me. I probably was, as a young kid, I was probably, 28? Maybe 8. And unfortunately, I was rooting for the team in blue at the time. And it was a Cardinal game.
That was unfortunate.
Got that straight.
Played many a year against Bob, and really nice guy, and had a nice little conversation with him today about his starter, and talked about Carpenter and the Cardinals. And glad to see him at this level, and really recognize a very good pitching coach.
3-1 pitch is outside to Pagnazzi, another base runner for the Cardinals. That's 2 walks in this inning by Escalona. And he's having a hard time getting that third out. Tomorrow, the Cardinals again take on the Rockies. You can support an amazing cause during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will receive a breast cancer awareness tote bag, courtesy of Fuse and Schnucks. For more information, visit cardinals.com/promotions.
Cubs just came up with a run. They're in the top of the 9th inning, still batting, leading San Diego 1-0 in the 9th inning. They lose. Padres lose that game, they'd be 3 games back.
Popped up, Iannetta makes the play in front of the Cardinals dugout. Cardinals miss an opportunity in the 5th, but they do have a 5-run lead. a young Cardinal fan, enjoying the action here tonight, enjoying the Cardinal lead, and just enjoying being with Dad. It's a great family game, beautiful night for Cardinal baseball.
Michael McKendry going to pinch hit here.
His first look at Carpenter, swing and a miss on a pitch high and away.
And seventh round of the 2006 first-year player draft out of Middle Tennessee State. He hit .265 with 10 home runs, 49 RBIs, 44 doubles, 44 games, and 99 games at AAA Colorado. And it appears that he's looking for his first major league hit.
Something to get one against Chris Carpenter, who has a gem going. Just an infield, or 2 hits, excuse me. One from infielder Ian Stewart, another from the catcher Chris Iannetta in the 5th inning.
Ever give up a guy's first major league hit?
Yes, I did.
Make you mad?
Oh, yeah. I gave up a guy's first and only major league home run. That was even worse. Bert Pena was about 5'5", 110 pounds. It took me deep in the Astrodome.
That was a big ballpark.
That was a big. Yes, it was. Thanks for reminding me. And that's the only home run he's ever hit in his career.
And probably the last, right?
It was worse. Yeah, it was the last. And Ken Daly tells a great story about pitching to Pete Rose about 4 different games. You remember when Pete Rose was at the end of breaking that hit record, they were throwing out, the last 100 baseballs? And I think Rose was 4 for 4 one game against Daly. Hit against him another game a week later. He kept throwing out baseballs. He's getting a little tired of seeing that. Because they were auctioning them off. Slider is strikeout number 1 for Chris Carpenter. And it comes here in the 6th inning. I'm not sure Chris Carpenter has ever gone this long without a strikeout. Dandy pitch here.
And it was a real good pitch as pitcher's pitch, breaking ball down and away on the black. Kind of unfair to a young hitter and mismatch mentally. Carpenter knows what he wants to throw to the youngster, and youngster's going, man, that's a former Cy Young Award winner out there. How am I going to get a hit? Well, you didn't.
Got to work harder. Line drive to left center. Rasmus on the move in the gap, and it's down in between Holliday and Rasmus. A sliding Matt Holliday. This is going to end up a triple for Dexter Fowler. I thought off the bat that would be more Rasmus's ball, but Matt Holliday closed the gap on it and almost made the play on the dime.
This is the 14th triple of the year for Fowler. And Kobe, he really definitely shied away. Now, he wasn't that close, and Holliday tries to give a good effort. It was right in between. Neither one of them really felt confident enough to call it. Matt put out the most effort, and then Kobe tried to play the carom, but this kid with great speed, 14 triples. It's a franchise record.
Very talented. He's hit Carpenter well. Curveball for a strike to Chris Nelson. Cardinals with the infield back conceding a run here. Again, one of the nuances of the game, Al.
Yeah, you will accept with 1 out. Carpenter, if he doesn't want that run to score, he can do something about it. But when you're leading 5-0, if you try and cut that run off at the plate, preserve the shutout, many times that leads to a big inning. So, you can strike him out, you can pop him up, you make him hit the ball, a line drive right at somebody. But with Fowler's great speed, don't be trying to cut that run off, because the possibility of a crooked number going up there is that much greater.
Carpenter 2/3 of the way to that strikeout. It would be his second. And the pitch. Curveball hit on the ground to third, and Fowler not going. And Feliz, very good fielding third baseman, takes care of Nelson for the second out.
Not going on contact, because the Cardinals are leading 5-0. And then all Feliz has to do is just kind of look at it. If you look at the runner, you freeze him. And then then he can't restart the engine.
And the key there is not to panic if you're Feliz. You look him back, but then you can't panic rush the throw to first base, throw it away, then you've really hurt your team.
And it almost looked like he did it, and he looked twice. One to stop him, and the second time in case to see he would try and break break home, and he still felt he had enough confidence to throw out Nelson by looking twice.
Carpenter 15-4 when receiving 5 runs or more of support.
And that's why it's just so odd to see him with a 4-game losing streak. Not saying he's always had 5 runs of support during that time, but we're just so used to having him keep the opposition down to a 3 or 4 runs maximum.
And the thing for Carpenter, as we talked earlier, is to avoid the big inning. And that's been his problem in these last 4 starts. One inning where the command's not there, the control's not there. Dave Duncan is eyeballing him, trying to make sure he's on top of those, the command of his pitches, but sometimes it's just gotten away from him.
You know, even in this game, even if you're a starting pitcher, you can lose concentration for a matter of a few pitches, and it can determine the game.
And a wild pitch leads to the first Rockies run. That ball in the dirt, not blocked by Matt Pagnozzi.
Now, we always talk about when the ball bounces in the dirt, they always score a wild pitch. It doesn't always have to be, but there is, it's a situation, where Pagnozzi's going to look at that replay and he's going to be very disappointed in his effort. Did not give that patented block. He just tried to backhand the ball. And a pitch that, yes, it's in the dirt, but it was in the middle of the plate, it should have been blocked, and he's better than that. And I think that's how you say it is Matt, if you do what you've been taught, you block that ball. We learn to appreciate Molina so much when we see other people with that inability to block balls. And usually Cardinal catchers are pretty well schooled in that. And we were just talking with Mike Matheny. He told us that Pagnozzi is a lot better defensively than he's shown. And we know that that's true.
Not throwing out runners yet, and again, not the perfect form there. And I'll bet that Yadier Molina will have something to say to Pagnozzi.
Sure.
As will Mike Matheny, who has been in the role of catching instructor for the Cardinals throughout the year. And he's not afraid to throw in his 2 cents as Troy Tulowitzki steps to the plate.
And let's face it, we know Pags well enough that he'll look at it himself and he'll come up with that assessment. It doesn't even have to be told. But it doesn't hurt to hear from your peers.
Carpenter trying to regain his composure here. A little upset about that wild pitch. And we should say that in an effort to give you the sights and sounds of the game, sometimes you pick up some language from players that we would prefer you not hear. So we apologize for that. As that grounder up the middle ends up being a base hit for Troy Tulowitzki, as Brendan Ryan not able to get the runner Spilborghs going from first to second. He had a good jump there. That play very slow in developing, not hit hard up the middle. As Carpenter a little frustrated.
Yeah, they could have scored this maybe a fielder's choice, but they give him an infield base hit. That's a little bit of exchange, but it was not hit particularly well. He was playing more in the hole. And here's what we're talking about, what has led to big innings. A little bit of that frustration on the wild pitch. Then you complicate it by walking the next one. Then you catch a bad break on the infield single. But you've got to shut it down mentally right now.
Now he wants that. He wants that curveball.
He wanted that pitch right there. So now he's getting more frustrated.
It's really interesting. Now you talked earlier about being aggressive on the mound and kind of having that mad dog thing, but this is not what you're talking about.
No. And
frustration is not what you're talking about.
Use that adrenaline flow to positive, direct it positively to help yourself. But when you get mad, then all that energy goes elsewhere, and it just you can't channel it to get people out. And I know from experience.
I bet you do.
On both sides.
There's a good pitch on the inside corner. Carpenter gets that pitch.
But Ricky, that's how I developed. What I did off the back of the mound was learn how to challenge my energy and use it as a positive strength to get people out. Now he gets a pitch there that could have gone either way. You never think about those.
Of course not. Ball popped up on the right side. Albert should take care of this. Carpenter could take a deep breath and think about the fact that he is enjoying a 5-1 lead. He'll lead it off in the bottom of the 6th. Rockies and the Cardinals will square off again tomorrow at 6:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. Brought to you by Budweiser. Jorge De La Rosa, 8-6 against Jake Westbrook, 9-11 for the Cardinals. Our Chevy call to the bullpen.
And Del Carmen is our Chevy call to the bullpen. His first outing for the Rockies, he allowed 4 runs and 4 hits in a third of an inning. Allowed a home run to the first batter he faced, Jason Worth. That happens, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. How'd you know that?
I remember after the first couple batters you faced,
I wanted to quit.
Whitey sent a note up and said, let's get all the married men off the infield.
Made it kind of lonely, actually. And it's a very lonely place on that mound when you do just that. In fact, a Cardinal pitcher gave up a home run to his first batter against the Rockies in that series in Colorado as Del Carmen misses high to Carpenter. That was Evan McClain in his debut. He gave up a game-winning home run in Game 2 of that 3-game series to Chris Iannetta. Cardinals lost that one 8-7. Carpenter bounces out.
You may find this odd, but I did see that.
I'm glad you're watching now. Every Friday during the football season, we want to remind you that the Cardinals will bring Rams All Access. St. Louis Rams will bring you Rams All Access. This week, James Laurinaitis hosted a Make-A-Wish celebrity server dinner, and his teammates came along to act as waiters and to compete for tips. See it tomorrow on Rams All Access, Friday at 6 o'clock on Fox Sports Midwest.
Well, Ricky made it odd. I was watching it from my command ship over in Hungary.
That's right.
Yeah, so I saw that first home run. First batter, McClain faced. And
one of 65 players in the history of the game to give up a home run to the first batter he faced. 65 of us.
How many others do you know?
I know a guy named Josh Kinney who did it.
Yes, he did.
And I know a guy named Bob Gibson that did it.
He did?
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Oh, man.
But I believe there's only 12 or 13 who gave up a home run on their very first pitch. And I am one of them as well. Ground ball to second. Schumacher does not beat it out. And a couple of ground outs brings in Alan Craig.
All right.
And look at our U.S. Cellular Text Bowl results, Al. Who do our fans think will win the West? Well, you said San Francisco, so what did everybody else say? At least 65% of our Cardinal viewers picked the Giants over the Padres, and the Padres did, in fact, lose.
So it's a 3-game lead for San Francisco over, as John Jay is going to hit here. But it's a 3-game lead with 3 to play.
You're texting too late, son.
Against, Padres chasing San Francisco. Well, you know what you just told me. And we'll have to have our astute
he's texting out.
Team. He's talking to his girlfriend. Texting his girlfriend.
Think that's an iPhone?
Nope. It was flipped up. But anyway, if Bob Gibson threw a home run to the first batter he faced in the major leagues, I think the last pitch he made in his great Hall of Fame career
was also a home run. I have heard that story. That was Pete Lecoq. And the story goes, I don't know if this is true or not. It sure sounds good if it is. But I'm told that he actually hit him in an old-timers game somewhere later.
Well, he hit him 3 times one time. He hit him the first time because he said, I don't think I like you. And then he hit him the next 2 times in that game because he said, why me? That's true.
And strikeout takes care of the pinch hitter, John Jay. He is struck out, then 2-3. Good inning for Del Carmen. Through 6, 5-1 Cardinals. brought to you by Lumiere Casino. Every time the Cardinals win, the next day, get a free buffet with a purchase of one at the kitchen at Lumiere Place. Visit My Choice for details. Cotton candy, anyone? About a 5-1 Cardinal lead with Chris Carpenter on the mound. Really is a great night for baseball. I love September baseball.
Remember when it's weather like this.
I prefer October baseball to September baseball,
sure.
but we'll have to settle with September.
Light jacket, sweater, or even shirt sleeves or something like that. But so you got all combinations there. It's not that cold, and fun to watch games out here on a beautiful night.
There's that good curve from Carpenter. He gets that pitch. 1-2 to Ian Stewart. Stewart bounced out and singled. One of just 3 Rockies hits. This is a Rockies team that was hitting so well, and then they just went into a tailspin. Almost all the Rockies are in some mild slumps right now, including Stewart. But this is a good offensive ball club, and Don Baylor has done a nice job as their hitting coach.
I was told that Don Baylor.
Here's a great pitch on the inside corner.
He's going to get at least an interview for the Toronto job.
As he should. And you look at the Rockies' offense, Al, in the month of September, the first 12 games, best in baseball, and now not quite so good, September 13th to the present.
Yeah, winning ball games, and then they had the good pitching, everything going, timely hitting, and 2 of the hottest hitters in the game.
Tough hop for Ryan, but he takes care of it and throws out Iannetta. 2 quick outs for Carpenter. And speaking of fall action, you can catch all the action on the 2010 Major League Baseball postseason on Fox and TBS. The excitement begins October 6th with the Division Series on TBS.
Going back to Don Baylor, that it's my understanding that a condition of Cito Gaston stepping down, and he wasn't forced. You said, okay, I'm reaching retirement, but I will do this under one condition. You have to at least give Don Baylor an interview.
How about that?
He's my choice if you're asked.
Well, that shows the respect that Toronto has for Cito Gaston.
Well, sure, and rightfully so. And Don Baylor has been a manager at the big league level, done a good job, and hitting coach for Cardinals and Rockies. Good man.
Winning key was selected by Norm Bean. Congratulations to our winner, and thanks to Hyundai for sponsoring the Hyundai Long Drive Inning for Cardinal fans. And how about that moment?
What does that mean? What'd you think? Did you think your odds were good being the first or bad?
I thought that would be a good thing.
We had 12 contestants.
Right.
You had to be there. 9 showed up. And Mr. Bean was, Norm Bean was the first of the 9
to get the pick. No, wait a minute now. Wait. You said you had 12. You had 3 of them decided not to show up and maybe win a car?
One was sick, one was this and that and everything. But, there were 9 that were there. And I think it was Holiday, I'm trying to think, hit the first home run of the year in our Hyundai 7th inning, as you're looking at Dotel coming in to pitch. And so Norm was the first one to get a key. You went by when they did it in order. And what the heck, so there's 1 in 9 chance. And he picked the first key, comes over there. Craig Suntrip and I are watching, and as he turns it to the right, it opens, but he didn't open the door. Open the door, and he was kind of stunned. He told me a couple years ago he was in a field goal kicking contest with the Rams.
Hey, did he win that?
Yes, he won a car that time too. So his friends, 2 or 3 of his friends came and they said, "Oh, we're going to come. We know you're going to win."
I guess that's why the others didn't come. If I got the flu and I got a 1 in 12 chance at a car, I think I'm still showing up.
Well, how about the other 8? We made them go through the gyrations of. Well, we all let them go just to make sure it was done properly. They all had a chance to open the key, which all failed. So it was the only key that opened it up. But first man right out of the chute opens the door and gets a new Hyundai Sonata.
Congratulations!
That's the 8th year that Hyundai has been a great sponsor, and we
do
given away a car, and that's a good-looking car, by the way.
Albert Pujols leads off against Dotel. His first inning of work, he's on in relief of Manny Del Carmen, who had a scoreless 6th inning. Dotel, the veteran right-hander, has been a closer often in his career. He has 22 saves on the season. Always been a hard thrower. And maybe he'll throw one just hard enough and in the right spot for Albert's 43rd home run. How about that?
I mean, started with the Pirates, got traded to the Dodgers, and then acquired from the Dodgers on the 18th of this month. He would not have been eligible, but they were hoping once the Dodgers fell out of it, they were going to send him on over to see if he could help the Rockies get to postseason. And neither one will.
There's the Dotel slider that misses high and away, 79 miles an hour. Albert, kind of a clean-shaven look today. Still has that growl. What a menacing look that must look like from the mound. Had a chance to throw batting practice to him once. You ever do that?
No.
It's kind of fun. Very thankful that there was a cage in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, but we also know how to keep him from hitting the ball back up the middle. Right. And you know how to do that, don't you?
Throw the ball in.
Pitch inside. One time you're going to
let
get
the
hit.
Third baseman get hurt.
Yeah, no, it's not the exact way you're trying to groove a swing.
But it's self-defense.
But it's self-defense. You get a couple rockets back up the middle, you learn real quick about pitching inside.
3-2 to Albert. Dotel, watch out. Talk about pitching inside. Albert backs away. Interesting at bat. Dotel and Pujols. Let's check it out pitch by pitch.
Well, it's not the first time these two guys gone out there. The slider way out of the plate. And a fastball. He's just taken all the way. Goes right after the pitch. Then the slider back here. Another slider out there. Pitched out and away. And then he goes for the fastball and didn't stay on top of it. And up and in for the walk.
Albert almost hit with that pitch. Matt Holliday was hit his first plate appearance. Right on the elbow in that first inning. And we thought there'd be a little bit of a knot there.
There he is.
Still red.
Yep. Just
talking with Matt today, you know, he was a pitcher in high school, and his uncle, and you know, his dad's a pitching coach, and brother is a baseball coach, and at the college level, and both of them, and kind of asked him, well, why didn't you go pitching? He said, well, you know, I had an uncle was a scout for the Rockies, and he said, I think you've got a better chance of being a hitter. So that stopped his pitching career. And at that same time, they kind of made the determination time to give up football. So he was a very good high school quarterback.
You can imagine that he would.
And I think he made a very good decision on both fronts.
Had a very fine career, and he'll be a Cardinal for a long time. 2-1 to Holiday. And you made the point that he has been really good with the 2-out RBI this season. I think folks might be surprised to hear that.
Leads the National League with 52 out base hits, or 52 out RBIs. And, you know, we had those 12 winners, the home run in the 7th inning, the Hyundai long drive inning. Of the 12, 4 of them were home runs by Holiday. And surprising me was only 1 and a home run by Albert.
You think Mr. Bean will let Matt drive his car?
No.
Couldn't catch up to this slider from Dotel. He is now 1 for 3. Good location.
They get a lot of arm action, slings the ball up there, you know, just wild enough to where you kind of don't feel comfortable staying in the batter's box. You're reaching.
Colby Rasmus steps in. Tonight's attendance, 36,739. Ball hit hard past Todd Helton. He's been busy over there. And that should be a base hit for Colby Rasmus. Well, the Cardinals have hit 2 or 3 shots right at him.
Yeah, but we all know that the multiple Gold Glove winner, in his prime, he would just suck that one up and turn it into a double play. But he scored an error, I believe.
I can live with that.
Yeah, I mean,
ball was hit well by Colby Rasmus, but a playable ball.
Big leagues, and you know, you're not that he had to make a step. You know, it was right at him.
7th error of the year for Todd Helton. And you mentioned earlier Albert Pujols, a bid for another Gold Glove. Albert with just 4 errors at first base. He made 3 of them in 2 days early in the season. He only has 4 on the season. And it could be a Gold Glove year for him and Yadier Molina. Both of them have won Gold Gloves before.
Yadi's won 2 in a row, and there's no doubt he should be the leading guy for his 3rd consecutive. And Albert, in my mind, because of that great range and how many chances he takes, he's, you know, his throwing ability and everything else, I think he has 4 errors on the season, and I'd love for him to get a Gold Glove again.
Cardinals defensively have not been very good this year, but you can really kind of highlight it to the infielders. Pitchers actually have the best fielding percentage of any pitching staff in the National League, as well as the best zone rating. They cover more ground, and the outfielders have been pretty good in that regard. It's really been up the middle, 3rd base, pop up, and a nice play by Iannetta up against the screen. And 2 outs for the Redbirds. After the game, Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live will come from the Octobar at Lumiere Place Casino. You can watch player interviews, and you'll hear from Tony La Russa. Plus, you'll hear from Pat Paris, and you'll hear from me. And we'll break down the game for you. Missouri Cardinals Live after the game. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live after the game on Fox Sports Midwest.
Ricky, going back to the defense, and there's no doubt you can make the Cardinals got the big 3 in their starting rotation. You hope Loesch will have an uneventful offseason, mentally prepare for the upcoming season, get off to a good start. Looking for a number 5 starter. You know, Westbrook is open to the idea. Of course, you would have to hope when he hits the open market he doesn't get a contract offer like he has now, and
that would be the problem.
Yeah.
And here's a base hit to right field for Pagnozzi. Pujols rounds third. He will score. The throw comes in to second base. Second RBI of the night for Matt Pagnozzi. Albert very ginger crossing home plate. Matt Pagnozzi continues to contribute. 2 for 3 night for him.
2 RBIs tonight. He's up to 7. Just getting this extended playing time and just hit the ball up the middle. Yeah, Albert chugging around here. He's going to score. A little bit of a limp.
As spry as he looked earlier.
And a little more pronounced when after he crossed home plate. But how about Pags? And you just don't, just make contact. Hit the ball up the middle, and just try to move runners around and stuff.
Making it look simple. Popped in to right. Brendan Ryan will drop to 1 for 4. He has an RBI. Cardinals have 6 of them. No errors. Colorado Rockies 1 run, 3 hits, and 2 errors. Chris Carpenter beginning his 8th inning of work. 79 pitches is all he has thrown through 7. Very good number there.
Jay Payton. Boy, he's been around a long time, hasn't he? He was at Georgia Tech. Veritek, Nomar Garcia Parra were all on that same team. It's very, very highly touted when he came out of there and signed originally with the Mets.
Fouls that one straight back. It's one of the things you think about with this Rockies bench, Al. Jason Giambi, Eric Young, both have been big players and starters in the past. Clint Barnes has been a starter for the Rockies, and that's one thing the Cardinals really struggled with this year, having guys that could come in and fill in at a starter level. So if you got hurt, then the production just went down.
Jay Payton currently with his 12th major league team or season with his 6th club. And you mentioned Clint Barnes. Clint is not with the ball club right now. I understand his father is very ill, and we hope the Rockies are hoping he'll be here the weekend, but we wish his father speedy recovery, and then we'll look forward to seeing Mr. Barmes.
Cardinal fan growing up, if I remember correctly.
You better say a Cardinal fan. He's from that Indiana State, but is it Vincennes, Illinois, or something like that?
Vincennes, Indiana.
Indiana.
That, of course, is Cardinal country still. Sure. Good curveball from Carpenter.
But, they get a couple choices.
Yeah, they do.
So, I'm sure he was a big fan of the Wizard.
0-2 backs off Dexter Fowler. Fowler tripled in the third inning.
Scored the only run on a wild pitch.
Rockies actually had 3 hits on the scoreboard through 7, as I believe the official scorer wasn't sure whether to give Troy Tulowitzki an infield hit in the 6th on a fielder's choice attempt. Brendan Ryan made the play at second. Runner was safe there. Tulowitzki was safe, but they now have that right. And that's hit number 4 for the Rockies. And there's a strike 3 on the call. Dexter Fowler is strikeout victim number 3 for Chris Carpenter.
Backdoor breaking ball right on the black, and gives up on it. And the 3rd strikeout for Carpenter.
How about the torque, the downward spin?
You know, sometimes you see the replay of a pitcher and what his arm goes through, and you wonder how it stays attached. Saw some video, some kinesiology video where had pitchers throwing without shirts, and so it even more exaggerated what the shoulder muscles go through and the torque on the elbow. And I mean, it just sometimes is hard to imagine.
I hope that was a video of a pitcher from 2000 and later instead of the pitchers from the 70s and 80s. If you showed a picture of a pitcher without a shirt.
Well, they wanted to show muscles, so it was later.
That's right. Yeah. There used to be some bad-bodied pitchers back in the day.
Come on, man. You look at those videos, they were long, stringy muscles.
Okay.
Now, there were some bad-bodied pitchers, but, I'm sorry, but don't look at some of the thickness of the midsection of some of today's pitchers.
And a great inning for Chris Carpenter. 3 up, 3 down. He's just sailing along. 6-1 Cardinals.
Good action. See the grip. Got those fingers out on the seams, the thumb underneath, where you can pull down on each seam and get that downward action. Follow through, and another strikeout.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Samuel DeDuno is pitcher number 5 for the Rockies here tonight.
Spent the majority of the season at AAA Colorado Springs. He was 3-1, ERA under 3. Made 6 starts, threw a total of just 30 innings, had 29 strikeouts. A native of the Dominican Republic, resides in what used to be the shortstop capital, San Pedro de Macorís, and now He was born in La Romana. That's a great resort town.
You bet it is.
You play in Dominican?
Oh, yeah. Played at that golf course there. Oh, Teeth of the Dog, La Romana.
Casa de Campo.
What a great place.
Yeah, and then
wonderful place, wonderful people. And obviously baseball is so much a part of the culture of a young Dominican growing up. And so many of their players just hope for the chance of playing professional baseball and play in front of those youngsters here at the ballpark tonight.
And Ricky, you and I played in an era where many times in the off season you would play winter ball, supplement your income. You tell everybody, "Oh, I'm working on a new pitch," but you're over there for
some pesos.
For pesos, exactly.
Different kind of pitch.
And I played 3 different years in the Dominican Republic and absolutely loved it. All 3 years for a team in the capital, which made it a lot easier.
Carpenter goes down swinging, but a pretty big bunt. Our Hardy's prime cut of the game will give it to Chris Carpenter.
That's with 2 strikes, but perfect. Let the ball come to him, deaden it, stays fair, had the bat far enough out in fair territory, and stayed fair, and that was a big part of that inning.
It helped extend the second inning.
And the Cardinals scored 2 runs in, so that inning is the difference in this ball game. That was runs 2 and 3.
And they pushed across 2 more in the third inning, 1 more in the 7th. Skip Schumacher bats with 1 out against Deduno. And out number 2 for the Cardinals here in the 8th. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. With full flavor and a crisp, clean finish, it's what we do. By AT&T Mobility. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America.
Our astute viewers want me to remind you of, because of those long, stringy muscles back in the old days, is why you had very few pitching injuries.
You can't pull a muscle you don't have, Al.
Now, Charles Atlas, that's you, Ricky. You know.
Okay, where are you going with this?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out all the muscles you have, or are you putting yourself in the category where?
No, I'm one of the weak guys. No, I'm definitely tracking you there.
But remember, George Kissel used to say that, you know, part of the problem is with all the weightlifting, you know, that was forbidden. You know, when I played, that, you know, guys have gotten muscle bound, and that you get these muscles, and you're still going through a small little joint for, you know, an area that is stretching that rubber band. Eventually, it's going to break.
Base hit up the middle for John Jay, trying to finish the year at 300. He's in a battle for that. That hit will certainly help.
It'll be about 299. Mark Hamilton here, who got his first 2 major league hits yesterday. This kid doesn't get cheated. He kind of reminds you a little bit of swings as hard as Chris Duncan did. And I talked to Dave the other day, and I asked how Chris was doing. He said very well in his rehab from hip surgery.
First chance I had to watch Mark Hamilton play, I went down to watch our good friend A.J. Van Slyke play as a Cardinal minor leaguer, and he had on his team Alan Craig was the third baseman. Mark Hamilton was the first baseman. And watching Hamilton swing and take batting practice, you could just tell that the ball sounded different coming off his bat. He's very talented, very sweet swing. And he's just really trying to find himself at the minor league level, but he's certainly improving.
Well, he led the team, Memphis, in home runs with 18 and 60 RBIs. Only played 72 games. But what really got my attention is he's committed only 6 errors in almost 1,100 chances in the minor leagues with a strikeout.
Like that defense, though. On to the 9th. 6-1 Cardinals.
As we go to the ninth at Busch Stadium, coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Rick Horton at Lumiere Place will project the Cards' 2011 lineup. Plus, we'll hear from manager Tony La Russa. All that and more coming up after the game. Chris Carpenter looking to go the distance as we go back to the booth.
Carpenter has been very strong, thanks, Jim. And he is looking to put the finishing touch on the Colorado Rockies in Game 1 of this series.
And doing it in a very economical fashion still. That's only his 87th pitch. And looking for his first complete game of the year, stop a 4-game losing streak, and run his record to 16-9.
About that, 34 starts without a complete game, and he's looking for one on start number 35. Good, sharp curveball on the inside corner to Spilborghs. He's going to face the middle of the order for the Rockies here in the ninth. No action in the Cardinal bullpen.
Nope. And he's got 1/3 of his outs needed this inning.
Well, it's about that time to pick a player of the game. All right, we'll go with this guy. I wonder if he knew at that point, walking in from the bullpen, he'd be our Budweiser player of the game.
Well, it might have, as I look out on the little scoreboard and little stat board over the Cardinal bullpen, and they've already recorded his 16th win for him.
That's a slight premature gesture there, as the Cardinals have already had 2 come-from-behind losses at the hands of the Rockies.
That was in Colorado.
Yes, it was a different time.
Hey, we haven't talked about it, but a little controversy. I think it was San Francisco's filed a complaint with Major League Baseball saying they were not using the humidors, or say 50% of the time, using the humidor when
every half inning or so.
Yeah, when the visiting team would bat, but then they used the live baseballs when Tulowitzki and the Rockies were batting.
Can't imagine a Major League team would do that, Al.
It'd be pretty hard to do, though, wouldn't it? But, you know, there's been a lot of gamesmanship over the years.
There has.
To give you an idea, some teams have put baseballs in a freezer to harden them up. You know, and then Colorado, they started using the humidors to try and equalize them. Remember the Cubs were, and I've had this verified, that they used to have a person stationed in one of the outfield buildings,
right,
center field, and would high-powered binoculars would steal pitches and relay them walkie-talkie to the bench, and somehow was delivered to the hitter.
2-2 pitch hit up the middle. Ryan comes up with it. Tough throw to first. He got him. What a play by Brendan Ryan. Oh my.
Tulowitzki will have to tip his cap on that one. Tulowitzki is an outstanding shortstop in his own right, and Brendan Ryan up there sliding 6 feet deep into the outfield grass and makes that perfect bounce throw. And Hamilton, we talked about his good defense, a good pick at the other end. You get a bounce that far out in front of a first baseman, you really get a true hop, and they can adjust to it. And an outstanding play by Brendan Ryan.
We have seen some great plays throughout the season. I'm not sure I've seen one better than that.
No. And
wow,
we just like to see, you know, I mean, Brendan has committed 17 errors this year, and for his defensive ability, that's a high total. Now, he has played much better since his batting average has picked up to about 260 in the second half.
And how excited is he right now?
Yeah, that's indicative. And for all people to do it behind Carpenter, I guess it makes him a little happy to help out Chris.
Carpenter 1 out away from a complete game. Todd Helton, the only one standing in his way. 2-1 to Helton. He's 0 for 3. Only 4 hits for the Rockies. 1 run in the 6th inning. Carpenter now 1 strike away.
Just to finish on a high note, just makes your off season a little easier to prepare for next year. And I think what's happened with the Cardinals, there's a lot of guys that are disappointed, but they're going to use it motivation to look forward to next year.
Cardinal fans are on their feet for Chris Carpenter.
All these players have told me they're intrigued, and They know the front office understands they've got some work to do. They're very excited to see what will happen, transpire in the offseason. But they all want to get back to that postseason next year.
The 2-2. Hit on the ground to Schumacher. To Hamilton. Cardinals win. Chris Carpenter, a complete game victory. His 16th of the season. Cardinals win 6-1. Outstanding effort for Carpenter. They out-hit the Rockies 11-4. And what a great way to begin the final series of 2010. Cardinals win, post-game, right around the corner.